Next question. This is why I said it's really important to know saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. So it says figure 1 shows the structure of a fatty acid R group. Name the type of R group shown in figure 1. Explain your answer. Okay, so what's actually happening? What are the two types of R groups, first of all? Okay, the two types of R groups, if we were to split it, if we're R groups, they can be split into saturated and they can be split into unsaturated. Okay, those are the two types of R groups, saturated or unsaturated. Okay, now which one's going to have the double bond? Well, this is normal. Because it's normal, it's just going to have single bonds. Okay, unsaturated, well, that has this un, so it's going to be a bit, it's not going to be normal. Okay, so that means it must have this double bond somewhere, at least one of them. Okay, so type of R group, look at the structure. As you can see over here, there's a double bond. Because there's a double bond, we know that the type of R group is unsaturated. It is unsaturated. Okay, and the explanation, what was our explanation? There was a CC double bond in the fatty acid. Okay, so our explanation is there is a CC double bond in the fatty acid. Okay, here's the mark scheme. Type of R group, unsaturated, just like we said. And it says double bond, accept double bond, or CC. Okay, 2 marks there. Easy 2 marks. Something really easy to remember, something really easy to forget as well. Something that you may not pay attention to at all. But trust me, these questions do come up. Okay. Describe how a triglyceride molecule is formed. Now, if you're doing A-level biology, you will know how specific the mock scheme is. There will be stuff written underlined or in bold that if you don't have, you will not get the mark, no matter how perfect your answer is. Okay, so it's really important that you pay attention to these mark schemes and you learn sort of mark schemes or the way, the format, the mark scheme wants from you in an exam. It says, describe how a triglyceride molecule is formed. Now, this may seem easy, but 3 marks, where are the 3 marks coming from? Well, let's just describe what we actually already know. A triglyceride, when we drew it out, was 4 rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 rectangles present in a triglyceride. What was each of these rectangles? Well, these 3 rectangles were fatty acids. Okay? This rectangle over here was a glycerol. Okay? And these bonds over here are ester bonds. And how are these ester bonds formed? They're formed by condensation reactions. Okay, and that's basically everything you need to know to answer this question. How is the triglyceride molecule formed? Well, let's start off with the structure. Okay, so there is, first of all, you have 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. Okay, always state the number. These questions are simple, easy recall questions. So you don't want to miss out easy marks. No matter how strict the mark scheme might be, you don't want to miss out silly marks. 1 glycerol and 3 fatty acids. Okay, what else? Ester bonds are formed. So we've done the glycerol and fatty acids, ester bonds are being formed. So ester bonds are formed. Okay, how many ester bonds are formed? Okay, 3 ester bonds. How are the three ester bonds formed? Well, the three ester bonds are formed from three condensation reactions releasing three molecules of water. Okay, looking at the molecule, as you can see over here, you've got bold, one glycerol, three fatty acids. You need the one and the three, condensation reaction, and the removal of three molecules of water. Whenever you talk about condensation reactions, state the number of molecules of water that are being removed. Okay, always be safe. You don't want to risk anything. Okay, and ester bonds formed. I know we said three ester bonds formed. That was playing it safe, just in case. Okay, the marking wasn't that strict with the last point, but it was strict with the first 2 points. Okay, describe how an ester bond is formed in a phospholipid molecule. Okay, how is an ester bond formed? Okay, whenever you're looking at this, you have to understand what points you need to know. We've already been given the point about ester bonds. So you need to state what's actually happening and where is it happening. That's what you need to state. Ester bond. How is it formed? It's formed via the condensation reaction. Always play it safe. Condensation reaction releasing a molecule of water. Where does it happen? Look, it's saying how is an ester bond formed in a phospholipid molecule? If it's stated the specific molecule, you also need to state where it's actually happening. So condensation reaction releasing a molecule of water between where is it between? Between a glycerol and a fatty acid. Okay, now if we were to just sort of picture that, remember we had this rectangle, that was a glycerol, and then we had these two fatty acids, okay, and then we had this one phosphate, okay. These two ester bonds are being formed between one glycerol, two fatty acids, and releasing two molecules of water in the process. Looking at the Mock scheme, condensation reaction there between a glycerol and a fatty acid, which we have there. Okay, and that would be worth 2 marks. Okay, right guys, final question, and then we're done for today's lesson. The diagram represents a triglyceride. Name the molecules represented in the diagram by box P and box Q. Now this is a rather simple question. We've been looking at triglycerides all along. So box P, big box, only one of them is going to be the glycerol. Box Q, we have 3 of them, and they're joined to the glycerol. So it's going to be nothing other than a fatty acid. Okay, and name the type of bond between P and Q in the diagram. So this bond, well, there's only one bond we've looked at in today's lesson, and that's going to be an ester bond. Okay, mark scheme, glycerol, fatty acid, chains, ester bond. Okay, so 3 marks there.